How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the DIY Survival Guide, Episode 3. Now, before I get into this episode, I just want to say thank you for watching the last two episodes. If you haven't, you can go backtrack. I'm hoping that all of these videos sort of weave in and out of each other and possibly contradict and separate to eventually find each other again. That type of thing. This episode will sort of be hopefully an example of that. Before I really get to the meat and potatoes, I just want to invite you to join my newsletter. I will leave a link in the description of this video. cauldronofburgers.substack.com. Within my newsletter, usually I just give general updates into what I've been doing. If I've posted stuff, usually there's a quick link to whatever I've posted. I started it initially to bring you comic strips that weren't getting completely fucked by the algorithm. Just sending you comic strips straight to your mailbox so you can see my work and enjoy my work and not have it be altered or I don't know, just not, as I said, fucked with by the Instagram algorithm, because Instagram is becoming a very hard place to be a cartoonist slash musician. So I'm trying to create a space, a platform just where you can get my work and my work only. And if you don't want, I guess, that, then it's not going to be there. It's not just going to appear on your timeline. It's just, if you want it, it's there, etc., etc. But yeah, I really hate when videos make, or instructional videos especially, have too long of an intro with plugs. So I'm going to cut that off right there and just get right into it. Now, the topic of today's video was initially just going to be about, I guess, not so much time management, but investing time. But I think as I was writing out on my little whiteboard here, my ideas and getting my thoughts together, it became a much broader concept of just investing or your investment, because doing things yourself requires a lot of investment and not so much return on investment, and that's a reality that a lot of people on YouTube don't really talk about. And I've definitely mentioned this before. This is, I guess, where I start repeating myself a lot, but you shouldn't really be doing things yourself for a reward. I believe that the rewards, when they do come, are a lot more gratifying, a lot there's a full return on investment, as in whatever you put into it, the less outside factors you have in, the better, because you will be making 100% or close to 100% back in what you're doing, whether that is with time, whether that is with energy, whether that is with money, whatever it is you're putting in. It could be fucking carrots. I don't fucking know. Whatever you're trying to shove in the machine, whatever whatever it is that you're putting in, you will get back tenfold. But again, that should not be the reason why you are doing things yourself, because DIY is it's a journey for fulfillment and real true satisfaction with what you're doing. It's following curiosity as opposed to playing it safe and creating a secure life for yourself, because anybody that's going to pursue the arts in hopes of security or health insurance or 401k is a fucking moron, and they're setting themselves up immediately for failure. Kudos if you do it. You might want to make your own DIY survival guide, but I am not promising you anything here. This is a guide, not an instruction manual. The most important, and I'm going to do this first because it is the most important, investment you can make into your do-it-yourself practice is time. Time, if you ask me, and maybe any person on their deathbed. I'm not on my deathbed, obviously. I'm here making this video. But anybody who is forced to reflect on, I guess, their lives, or maybe if they didn't spend it the way they wanted to, and if there's any critique or what have you, or introspection, reflection, most people say that they wish they had spent their time better. And therefore, that's what, to me, makes time the most valuable currency that you can have, because it is constantly depreciating. It is constantly, you are constantly getting less of it. So you must spend your time wisely. Now, that means that in a lot of ways, you're going to have to sacrifice being a normal person, and you should want to sacrifice being a normal person. You shouldn't want to waste your time, because unfortunately, most regular people just waste their fucking time. They wait, and I have, as far as I know, a reputation of being very productive. I've had a lot of people tell me or ask me, like, how do you like do so much? And it's like, because I just make time. I when people are going out on a Friday or Saturday night or whatever time they have off, I usually, if there was a long time, maybe not so much now because I'm a little older and I go a little slower. But when I was in my 20s, if I wasn't in some random state somewhere playing a show in a basement, or a VFW, or a lecture hall, or maybe just an actual venue, being on an actual tour, like, I was in my house drawing, and I was getting inspiration, buying comics, buying DVDs, going to, like, I don't want to say, I guess, thrift stores, but like not so much thrift stores, going to a lot of like collectible stores, like getting toys, because toys inspired me. I was constantly on the search to keep sort of the fires, the furnace of inspiration going. I wasn't really in the business of like letting it go for the weekend and then returning to my life that I fucking hate. But also that life also comes with sacrifices, as in, I'm financially, it's a constant safari to uncover some finances that will bail you out of debt collectors calling you, and overdraft fee letters, coming at your mailbox every day. And there is a trade-off to that, but I'm not going to get into that so much just yet. I've been very fortunate, and then also very unfortunate, to be unemployed. Sometimes it worked in my favor, as in, I was going to school, so everybody was kind of off my back because I was going to school. I pursued school full time. A little late in my 20s. I didn't graduate till I was about 27. My first run at college was definitely not was not great. I flunked out. I flunked out of the music program because I was a kid, and I had hopes and dreams and ambitions, and I was just starting to really get a taste for playing in bands and stuff like that. And I was foaming at the mouth trying to get to that. So I thought maybe I would go to community college for music, but I didn't want to learn the keyboard and do figured bass or learn what the fuck that is. I still don't know what that is. I didn't want to learn how to sight read or do more sight reading. I knew how to sight read because I classically and jazz trained in saxophone. I did NYSSMA. I did a whole bunch of stuff in my grade school career. I just didn't want more of that, more of the institution. I just wanted to go out and really learn what the road was like, because I hadn't really experienced that yet, because I was 17 years old. So I figured I'd go to school for music. It was Suffolk Community College. And it turns out I learned pretty quickly that that's not what I wanted at all. I flunked out. I did a semester of liberal arts at the Brentwood campus at Suffolk, which is a little closer to where I was living at the time. And there came a point, I really was pushing hard with my bands, and we were, as I said, playing all over the place still while I was in college. And when the time came to just sort of re-up and go for the next semester, one of my bands, the band I was in at the time, was doing pretty well. We had gotten a couple cool offers to like have our records put out by like an independent record label. And it was a band that was bigger than us, that could sort of show us the way and take us on tour and sort of get us into the system. And I figured it was better to do that. But I was on the right track in a certain way because um, I I guess I didn't really know it at the time, and this is sort of a philosophy that was taught to me by my girlfriend. But if you are forced, if your circumstances are they don't allow you to have as much free time as I've had in my life, at certain points where I've made a lot of sort of my bigger works, um, maybe it's important to sort of mold your daily life uh, around your interests. Now, it's easier said than done, and I really only started to consciously apply that within the last couple of years. But okay, let's take an example like me. Okay, I'm a rebellious punk kid. Going to hardcore shows, going and playing backyard shows, playing all kinds of punk shows, wherever basically my band could get booked. Um, I'm just freshly graduated from high school. I'm enrolled in this program. I know I have like 2 or 3 months in the summer to really do whatever and just kind of see where it goes. I spent most of that time at band practice and playing shows and just generally, again, surrounding and immersing myself within my interests. I'm like, okay, well, if it's imperative that I go to college, why don't I go to college for something I Um, like music. Okay, whether the results turn out the way that you want or not, that the I guess the ideology is there, as in, okay, well, if I can't fully um, make a life out of exactly what I want, whether I am baking, or I don't know why that keeps becoming my example, or you're a gardener, or you're a tattoo artist, or what have you. It's like at least I could do something similar that is sort of sharpening my skills and keeping almost expanding within the same realm my I guess, yeah, my skill set, my utility belt. So you might be listening to this and being like, well, that doesn't really make sense. That doesn't give me what I want to hear, as in how to make a full career out of knitting blankets or something like that on my couch, or starting an Etsy store, whatever it is. But what I'm trying to tell you is that these things are still investments of your time. Now, I'll fast forward to 2020, where I started. I graduated at the end of 2020. Graduated college finally, and then I got my degree. I had got a BFA in visual arts, which even that, like, when eventually when I kind of started realizing that, I'm not getting any younger, and that the touring band thing is I'm not going to say there's no money in it, because there is, but I think I started realizing that there were certain parts of it that didn't feel correct for me to do. I didn't feel like I was being my most genuine self by staying a touring musician. And I started just kind of getting tired of the rat race of doing so. And I realized I wanted to go back to school. I found an art program. I found grants. It was actually from one of my best friends. He told me that he was going back to school under what was called the Pell Grant. So I ended up getting the Pell Grant. Full transparency, I had ended up getting into a car accident shortly into my stint going back to school, and I was getting no fault checks for the time that I would have been working over the summer in between semesters, because I was driving to my job super early, and a taxi driver blew a stop sign, and I was on my way to work. I couldn't work. I had a herniated disc in my back and a herniated disc in my neck. I was collecting checks, and I also I ended up having like a pain and suffering case in which I had gotten a nice large sum of money that sort of coasted me through. And as a 25, 26-year old in college, I'm like, all right, well, that's good enough employment for me. So now I can sit here and I guess just draw. And it was pain. There was definitely trials and tribulations for that, because I would draw for about 20 minutes, and then I'd have to lay down because my back was so inflamed that I couldn't concentrate. Irrelevant. I'm giving you a backstory. Like, I was very lucky in this situation, and I believe that you could be lucky too. I believe that if, and this goes back to sort of the main point of this section, is that if you make a declaration to yourself or to whatever higher power or lack thereof that you believe in, that you are going to invest your time wisely into whatever it is that you are passionate about, you will get somewhere. And I believe that things sort of work themselves out, whether it is purely by just, I'm not going to say coincidence, but purely by like atomic, what's the word I'm trying to find? I had the word in my head, I lost it. Atomic mechanics, as in things that we can't comprehend, as in, you know, whatever you make this declaration and you make moves towards doing so, kind of like the laws of attraction, that things sort of just mold and move to your I guess to what it is that you need. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be like, okay, well, I want to be rich, so therefore the Cosmos are going to build a house on a 10-acre property for me. No, it just means that, you know, sometimes when you, I've always found anyway, that when you make a declaration to yourself and you make that investment into yourself, it's a new path sort of opens up. And again, not easy, not an easy life. Maybe that's why most people sort of are okay with, you know, living a cushy, secure life. But the things that you need will be there. Maybe not exactly when you want them to be there, but when you need them there. And that's why I believe that the most important thing to do is spend time. Because even if you are just spending 10 minutes a day on something, spending 15 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day on something, even if it just means that like your routine sort of molds to that and that becomes just part of your day, by the time you look back, you will have results. And I know I'm kind of just speaking all this gobbledygook, basically just to say that, you know, like if you even if it's 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, you will get somewhere. That's obvious, but you know, I don't think it's obvious to a lot of people. If you have an hour a day, then damn, you're golden. In my ramblings, I don't remember if I said this or not, so I'm going to say it one more time, and I apologize if I'm repeating myself. I just don't feel like going back and seeing if I said that. I'm just going to keep going and make it easier for myself to edit. But in my ramblings, I might have mentioned what my life is today. If not, here we go. But currently I have 1.5 jobs. I'll round up and say 2 jobs. But I have a job that I do some mornings during the week, and then I have my full-time job. I also have Cauldron of Burgers, which is, you know, my publishing outlet for my comics and my cartoons. I'm currently working on this story, All in a Day's Work, that I've been, as I said in the last video, I've been percolating on, sitting on like a chicken to its egg for the last 7 years. And I am a part of, I'm not super actively a part of at the moment, well, 2 very active bands, 1 not so active band, and then I have, I'm recording a proper solo record. Yeah, I'm very busy. So I'm pretty seasoned at this point to to finding the time to really for everything to put everything together. But it helps in a lot of ways that a lot of my jobs are in some way, shape, or form creative. The morning job, not so much. The morning job, the guy that I work with actually is an old punk guy, so he understands when maybe I can't come into work because I have something going on, or he has been very understanding if I have to play a show, or I'm working my other job and then playing a show at night, and therefore I can't be in at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. He's been cool about that. But my current job that I have, I work in a print shop, like a small bindery print shop / shipping store. and my manager is also an artist. So when things are dead, I just kind of get to work on. I bring my iPad. I get to work on my comics. I can send out emails. I can for certain things that I'm putting on. I could just generally run a lot of the logistical stuff, that stuff that comes along with Cauldron of Burgers and my bands. I could do that while just hanging out. Obviously, when there's stuff to do, I kind of have to put it down and go do it, which is kind of a funny thing because like most of my jobs within the last couple of years, because I also, before I got this job at the print place, I was working at a very large 1,500 cat venue in town that has all kinds of big productions, a lot of big rock shows and whatnot. There was a lot of freedom too. It was just a lot of long hours. You were just there all the time. But it's funny, like a lot of my jobs have a lot of downtime. So I start really getting invested in what I'm doing, whether I'm drawing or, like I said, doing emails, I'm writing stuff down. Maybe I have a lyrical idea that I'm writing or something. And then like when it's time to do work again, like I get annoyed. I'm like, fuck, God damn, why am I at work right now? Like getting annoyed that like I have to stop and go do my actual job. The point still stands though that if you mold your life or curate your life, curate's definitely a better word, curate your life to be surrounded by your interests in some way, shape, or form, you will have results and your process will prosper from that. It will bloom, as in like, so for me it's like, okay, I am a cartoonist, I make zines, etc., etc. Like what better place to be in than a place that will let me draw, and also a place that I can print my stuff with like pretty decent quality. It was the same with I guess working at the venue. Like when I worked at the venue, I was touring so much. I was playing a lot of shows, and I was in a place that understood that when I have to go, I have to go. And now I've had many conversations with bosses and stuff like that. I've gone into a lot of jobs in my life with my boss understanding that when I have to go, I have to go. That is something that I think I should cover as an investment, is being respectful. Like most bosses that I have worked under have been very understanding, especially because in the time that I am there, contradictory to what I said before, I make sure that my responsibilities there get done. Because if you're an asset to whatever thing you are obligated to do, you tend to have a lot more privileges, and whatever. It's not ideal. It's not an ideal way to live your life, as in like busting your ass to then have freedom. But again, that freedom, unfortunately, where I come from, is an investment. You have to invest in your own freedom. To round this all out, to bring this video a little more down to earth and a little less construct-y, move on to a topic that I think most people will find very helpful. Time is, while most people say it is a construct, it is the most valuable currency that a person can invest in, because it is so fleeting, because it is constantly depreciating, as I said. If you have time, if your life works out in such a way that you have time to pursue your passions to a point where you can make money doing it, then I say do it all the way. And anybody that's going to discredit that or degrade that is not someone that you need in your life. Someone who's going to try and pull you away from that is not someone that you need in your life. Someone who's not going to support that, not someone you need in your life. If you unfortunately cannot spend all of your time pursuing your passions, then find a way to curate your life so that you are surrounded by your own interests and surrounded by things that will further your life. As I said, if you are someone who wants to make treats, DIY vegan gluten-free treats, go work at a fucking bakery. The pay might be shit, but the pay is going to be shit everywhere you start off. And the pay is going to be shit. It's actually going to be non-existent, invisible shit when you are starting off on your own. Take it from me. If you like working on your car, go be a mechanic. Go work at a mechanic shop. For me personally, and I'm not saying that they're just going to be like, oh, okay, and then take you in, but you're going to have to pursue it. It's a pursuit, but it's a pursuit that's worth it. It's a pursuit that does have a return on investment in that you are expanding your tool belt, to reiterate that. If you want to learn how to roast coffee, single origin coffee or whatever it is, you don't want just Starbucks. You want to maybe start a coffee shop one day. Go work at a coffee shop, et cetera, et cetera. If you, like I said, unfortunately cannot spend all of your time doing exactly what it is that you want to do, find things that will pay you and get you along in this world, that also speak to your practice. Because I believe that, again, when you declare that this is what you want to do, then doors will open up, and you just have to have the foresight and kind of the spine to really walk through those doors, even if there is no ground on the other side and you just start plummeting to your utter doom, in hopes that maybe something saves you. That is an unfortunate reality of this world that I am talking about. Distractions are imminent. They are. It is futile to try and I'm not going to say destroy distractions, but expect that there will be distractions, and there will be people that will distract you and things that will distract you. Most people are concerned about what's going on in between their legs and who's touching it and who, whatever, and getting that kind of release and going out into the world and being social and just wasting their time. And if you want this and you want to be equipped to do this, then that is not a life that really you can be a part of. And it shouldn't be a life that you want to be a part of. You will be more productive. You will, hopefully, if you didn't know that, and I'm telling you this and it resonates with you, you will thank me. Because, again, I've had many people in my life tell me that, like, they don't understand how I'm so productive, or that I'm able to acquire as many skills as I do. And I don't say that to be cocky. I say that because I know the amount of time that I spent doing these things. Like, I'm fucking bald. Like, really? That's not because of I mean, it is because of bad genes, but it certainly started because of the fact that, I would sit on the couch and teach myself guitar for 6 years straight before I felt confident to show anybody. I taught myself to play drums. I taught myself really, like, my style of drawing. That wasn't from going out and partying, and that wasn't from, I don't know, going to Mets games or what have you, or I don't know. That's not to say that I didn't have a social life, but if I had a day off where I maybe didn't feel super inspired, or I didn't feel like I was going to get my best work done, I'd go get lunch with a friend. But there came a point in the day where they're like, "Oh, you coming out later?" And I was like, "No, I gotta go draw." So it was, things ended up being on my terms, and my friends gave me my fair share of shit about it, but I didn't really care because I knew that I was working towards something, and again, investing in my life. That's really that's probably the best way that I could put that, is invest in your life, invest in your passions and the things that you want to do. The rest of the things will follow. And I think most people give up because it doesn't always lead to worldly success and worldly riches and fortune, but it does lead to hardship that eventually turns into grit and turns into just strength overall, because you need that in this neck of the woods. Now we're going to move on to the next topic, which is something, unfortunately, that you 100% need to sustain yourself in not only the do-it-yourself world, but the real world, and that is money. Money is unfortunately a huge, it's an imperative part of the process. and investing your money properly is one of the smartest things you could do, especially as maybe a one-person entity or a coffee truck or a vegan treat shop or a cartoonist or a musician or a promoter or whatever it is. You need, whatever it is you're doing, you need capital to sustain yourself. Now, as I was saying in the last section, most of the time means that you need a job. There's been times in my life where I've had, like I said, money to play with because of getting extremely hurt in a car accident. But again, the capital has to be there, and a lot. I felt validated in sort of being unemployed at certain points in my life because I had the money to play around with and I had very little responsibility. But that's not always the case. And now, I have a job, like I said, within my realm of interest that I'm able to, there's lots of benefits to that, but also I have money to get by in the real world. And I also have money to invest into my, business, which is my publishing company, Cauldron of Burgers. Or if I need stuff for my bands or whatever, what have you, I have separate. I have a place where I can put that money. Maybe that is a good place to start. So I'm not just rambling and sort of muddying up all of my points here. Hopefully they make sense. I apologize if they don't. But the first step in investing intelligently and wisely into your practice is to separate your money. As in, if you don't have things to push and sell at the moment, then take a percentage of your paycheck, if you can, and put it in a sock drawer in an envelope, put it under your mattress. I recommend getting a separate bank account, and just so everything is all sort of in the same place and you could transfer money when you need to. When I first started Cauldron of Burgers as like an official publishing company, I got myself a DBA. I got myself a business account at the same bank that I was already banking at. If you could find one that works for you, obviously. But what I started realizing was that the money that I was receiving from selling my books and selling my paintings, whatever it is, was just sort of going towards my actual life, which, in times of desperation, you got to do what you got to do. But if you can help it, the separation of that money is life changing. It's super helpful. Because you don't realize how much money, say you're tabling a lot, or your books you're selling online on Big Cartel or something like that. That money does add up. I had a Patreon for a long time, about a year and a half, and that was also contributing about, I think, $60 a month, and all these things were, eventually I had funds where maybe I wasn't profiting per se, but one hand was sort of washing the other, and I didn't have to worry about taking money that has to go towards bills and having to pay for art supplies or having to pay for shipping supplies or whatever it is. I had funds to be able to actually invest in my process, so I could go to Michael's and drop $60 and not feel like, oh man, how am I going to get gas or whatever it is. I remember, it was when I first started realizing this, because I did a tabling event during the pandemic. My friend threw an outdoor market. When things were starting to get copacetic and you were allowed to be outside and stuff, he threw an outdoor market because, music, local music wasn't happening. And he still wanted to, I guess, have some kind of community going, and so that people, I guess, like me and a bunch of other vendors had a place to maybe make a little money. I ended up coming away with $400 from that, which for me was unheard of. People were super supportive. It was great. It was a great time, and I realized I don't want to just have this money get lost because I'm broke. I'm gonna put this away somewhere, and if I need something, I'm going to use this money to go to Michael's, to go to to buy a podcasting microphone, to just generally cover those things. I'm going to save my receipts. I'm going to save all that stuff. If I want to report it to taxes or whatever it is, you don't want to do that. that's your game. I'm not going to tell you what to do and not to do, what to risk, not to risk. The point still stands that it's very important to keep your money separate and track, I guess, inventory, even at such a small stage, just so that you know like how much potential there is to make money. Because you know, when you have a consistent outflow, it is very possible to make money as a small entity. Entity. I don't know why I feel the need to enunciate that extra T, because entity doesn't feel right to me. So sorry if I sound too proper when I talk about that, but yeah, I remember going on tour and having like creative money, I guess we'll call it, to buy myself food and whatnot. I remember when my band Restless Spirit, we were getting ready to put out, I guess, our record, the first record that I had been on in a little while. We all invested money, and that was all money that I had saved up and just separated from my personal life to be able to invest in this record. And not that we made money, because this was our first time doing it, but I was that happy knowing that I had the funds to be able to put that money somewhere. And again, investing, there's always the risk that you're going to lose something, that you're always going to risk not having a full ROI, or return on investment. But that's sort of the gamble you take with any business. And that's a gamble you take with life in general, is that you can't sit there and only make moves that and expect to calculate all these moves so that you get everything you want. Sometimes it's just not going to go your way. But the point still stands that what you can do, and this kind of goes back to the last video, is maintenance, as in being smart, being diligent with your money and your time. And when there is something that arises where you need the resources, you have them there. Even when, like as I said, practice is for maintenance. Investing, even when, again, you don't have much going on, is maintenance. It's one of those things that you are preparing yourself for when the time is right. I'm kind of in a phase like that right now, which it's not always comfortable. Like, I wish that I just had a constant inventory of books. I always dream about having like some cool like metal, those cool industrial metal shelves with boxes of books and all my titles and stuff. But at the moment, I am stocking away money, and I'm just sort of getting a general plan of attack together for when my books are ready, in general, and whatnot. And when I have more inventory, it's fun. I'm discovering that it's fun. It's like a little game. I'm like watching that sort of your capital or your investments into your practice sort of grow, and realizing that you have a little bit of cash to sit on. Then it's a really nice feeling. It's a good, you feel less panicked. It feels less of a safari to go out and find resources and whatnot. It's all there for you. It's kind of like, I guess, in a way, doomsday prepping, or in a more, hopefully a more positive version of that. But it's all the same. You're investing in, I guess I'm trying to like subliminally hypnotize you into investing properly by saying investing 10,000 times. But unfortunately, money is a huge factor in that, and it's not the deciding factor in which you, I guess, or it's not the deciding factor in the longevity of your process, but it certainly helps when you are on your own, or you are a small group of people doing things without any outside investors, any outside influence of any kind. Because if you think about it, if you're the only one investing in your work and in your whatever it is, in your product, whatever it might be, I'm not going to do that again. If you're the only one investing, then there's no outside control, because most investors, or most people that are yeah, I guess most investors, that's the word, they want some kind of control, and or they want some kind of influence in your stuff. And a lot of times, and I found in my life, I'm not going to name any names or companies or whatever, but when you have people investing in you, the second that you are not producing what they want you to produce, or the second that you do not seem financially or seem like an asset to them, you're done. So if you don't have that cushion or that, like, the parachute, the safety net, to be able to invest in yourself, which again I recommend, to bring up my again, one of my biggest influences in life, Frank Zappa. He was so big about starting a publishing company, because when you have your own publishing company and you have the rights to everything and you control everything, there's nothing that anybody can tell you. You know, if you sort of fall victim to maybe what is cancel culture, or something like that, I don't know. That's the example that comes up. The thing that would sort of influence a really rapid, fiery decline is if you don't have control over what you're doing. Now, I'm not saying go out and get yourself canceled because you have a publishing company. You know, there are people that genuinely do wrong, and that's not okay. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that if you have maybe, I'm actually going to say that if you have a less, if your beliefs or the things that you want to express are not kosher, or not. No, not going to say that. I'm trying to be wise with my words here, but I'm trying to be honest as well. If you have a belief that you are trying to express that does not align with the mass majority of people, in which you will get backlash, the only thing, say you have control over distribution or whatever, the only thing that really would decide if you cannot do what you do anymore is if you have people investing in you that can drop you and kind of leave you out on your ass. Final point of investment that I want to talk about is your energy, like physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy. If you want to even take spiritual energy, you can pepper that in too. But this is sort of synonymous with time. I figured I'd bring it back down to earth with the money thing, and then sort of launch into the cosmos with, I guess, this energy talk. Investing your energy in combination with time, it is very important. As I was saying, you know, most people want to put their energy into being social, and I mean, to be blunt, like going and having sex, and going and getting drunk, and that's sort of just like, that's the weekend, or watching the game, or watching TV, or watching Netflix, doing drugs. You know, people want that. That's just how people spend their time, and there's no judgment. Again, it's just, and you know, and there's a part of me that envies, you know, people that are, you know, willing to spend their time that way and put their energy into that, because, you know, it is in a lot of ways a lot easier than investing in yourself, because, you know, this world, I've said it already, it does not want you to succeed for whatever reason. It does not want you to put yourself in the captain's chair. It wants you to follow. That's the way that our society is set up, is that, you know, you need us for this. You need to buy this vacuum because you can't suck on the fucking carpet. You know, like, you know, it's like the problem solving that comes with starting a business, and really just capitalism really has influenced people to not be able to rely on themselves for much. Convenience has really corrupted a lot of people. So I guess the more energy you put into gaining skills, like attaining knowledge, the better. The more energy you put into actually seeing where your energy works best, and like even times of the day. Like I'll give you a little more insight into my life, and this has been my life a couple times. Because of the fact that I have a full-time job, I have and then a part-time job. I have very limited hours in the day to actually do things that I want to do. So my choices are I can stay up late and not sleep, and then I guess maybe like crank out a page or comic page or write a song, or I could go to band practice after work or something like that. Or which I did for a long time. I've this long time in my life where I was very tired. A lot of overnight drives through to get to the next show and whatnot. But I found that instead of doing that, and again, this is me personally, you don't have to do this. I recommend you try it. I found that actually getting up early before the hustle and bustles of New York sort of starts, getting up early and just getting as much done as possible, basically giving myself an hour and a half, 2 hours before the day really starts to really, I guess, get things done. I find that I'm so much I'm getting a lot more done in a shorter amount of time because there's no hustle and bustle. There's no noise. It's very quiet. I can concentrate. I'm fucking tired. I'm very tired because again I have an entire life to do, and then I'm also sacrificing a little bit of sleep to get up and do these things. Um, it's worth it because I feel like I can go through the day and that obsessive urge to like get things done has sort of been quelled, and I could bring things along with me because of the fact that my life is tailored or curated so that my creativity is mostly at the forefront. Like I have jobs to do, I have things I don't actually want to do all that bad that I have to do, but for the most part, there's a lot of opportunity for me to be able to still even like get a cherry on top amount of work done. But yeah, so I found that because I don't have to be at so my schedule works that Monday and Friday I have to be somewhere. I have to leave my house at 4:15 to be there at around 4:45, 4:50 to work till 7:30, sometimes 8 o'clock. Come home, take a nap, go work from 10 to 5:30. Get home at 6, make dinner, and then start getting ready to go to sleep and do it all over again. So I only have to do that Monday and Friday. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the weekends. Actually, no, not the weekends. Sorry, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I just have the full-time job that's 10 to 5:30. So, if I get up at 5:30 to draw, I have at least 5:36, and that'll be 3.5 hours to get stuff done before I have to start getting ready for work. I found that is the best use of my energy, and yeah, it's at this point I've done enough fighting to get here and enough trial and error to realize that that's what works for me. There was another point in my life where I actually did do this. I did it even more extreme, but I had less responsibility, so I had time to like go back to sleep and stuff. When I was drawing my book, The Cosmic Debt, that was a 40-page epic that I did for my Tutorials 2 class, which is like my portfolio class in college. I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning, making myself coffee, eating a bowl of cereal, and then drawing until like 9 a.m., and then going back to sleep, and then going to school and having like a full school day because I was a full-time student. That I found I couldn't even. I was penciling a page and then inking a page like all within that time. So I was literally like I was getting like a page and a half done a day, which was like, looking back, it was excellent. I can't do that now, unfortunately. I wish I could. I really wish I could. But I actually, it's actually impossible for me to do and still function as like a semi-normal human being maintaining some kind of healthy amount of homeostasis. Now, the most effective way that you can invest your energy into your practice is just by saying yes to things like being like a yes man or a yes person, yes woman, whatever you are, a yes, just say yes. Don't think so much about what could happen. Don't think so much about what you don't have, what isn't possible. Take your energy and assess what you have and turn that into something that can make it work. Like there's a band called the Dillinger Escape Plan, and it was a video that I saw when I was very very young. That basically they were talking about, like, someone asked them, like, how are you guys able to essentially play so many shows and be as much road dogs as you are. um Basically they said, like, do not miss shows, just figure it out. Like, we've had, like, our fan breakdown, we've had members had to miss shows, we've showed up with missing members and played shows. Just do not ever miss a show. And there's something to that, especially when you're young and you have the time, and I don't have to say the resources, but I guess you have the time and availability to do that sort of things. That basically what I'm trying to say is, do not think about what could go wrong. Do not overthink the presentation of what you're doing, and just invest your energy in making it happen. Because there have been plenty of times in my life where it's like, we didn't have a van, we didn't have a tour bus. I've never toured in a tour bus. You know, like a van was a best case scenario for us. There was times where we stacked. I had a Mazda 3 that was hand me down from my stepdad. That we just stuffed with all our equipment. We just squished our way all the way to Pennsylvania. You know, like, you figure it out. There was a time I remember, we had a show in Penn State, and there was a crazy blizzard that happened. I think it was 5 inches on Long Island, but I think it was like a foot of snow at Penn State. And I had a minivan that was front wheel drive. That was it. It was a 1998 Dodge Caravan, and I just said fuck it, and we just drove. We made it there. We played the show. It was a crazy show, and when it comes to investing your energy, you cannot let anxiety and fear hold you back. You will feel anxiety and fear, but you have to be courageous in that sort of way. Um, I believe that the definition of bravery is not the absence of fear, but the feeling fear and doing it anyway, sort of disobeying that fear. That is the best use of your energy, especially if you are somebody that is at the crossroads in your life where, you know, it's time to sort of start having a little more expectation. You're graduating high school, you're looking at college, you're looking at maybe just going to trade school, you're looking at just working because you don't know what you want to do. It's just about being courageous. And if people don't agree with your lifestyle, then you have to invest your energy into being as dependent on yourself as humanly possible. Invest your finances into being as dependent on yourself as humanly possible. Because if people don't have financial or emotional control over you, then there's not much that they can do to stop you. Now, what you might be doing might be very stupid and very dangerous, but I'm not going to encourage you to do that. But what I'm saying is that, like, if you want to go on tour or something like that, then, you know, if you have a job and you're holding it down, you're paying your phone bill and maybe your car bill, your car insurance, maybe you're paying rent at 17, 18 years old, which in this day and age, good luck. If you're doing all those things, then again, there's not much. If your energy and your finances are basically in the business of getting your ducks in a row so that you can have your freedom. That's kind of what I did when I was 17, 18 years old. There wasn't much that people could say about me graduate or dropping out of college to go pursue music, because I had my bases covered. At that point anyway, it was a very different time. This is, at this point, 13 years ago. So, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, when your energy is committed to, like I said, investing in yourself, investing in your passions and this thing you want to do, doors will open up. I'm telling you. I've gotten to the places that I've gotten, which I'm not going to gloat about. I'm not going to sit here and tell you about it. If you ever want to ask me about it, I'll tell you all about it. But things just happened for me because I said, I'm going to do this. And again, I don't know if that's atomic mechanics, as I called it before, or there really is something about energy and a contribution to the cosmos that allows the cosmos to have or contribute to the conversation as well. But whatever it is, things happen when you just put your mind to it. It is a lot of the laws of attraction. I never thought I'd ever be able to play out of state or go on tour or any of those things. I just knew I wanted to play music, and I knew that I was going to do what it took to get there. And I got there. I did it for 10 years. And now I'm at a point where I don't really need to do it anymore. I got it out of my system, and made money, didn't make money, etc., etc. I don't remember if this might have been in another take, so forgive me if I say this again. But part of your energy, especially as a new artist, baker, mechanic, carpenter, what have you. Part of that investment of energy is it's going to be, unfortunately, some of it is going to be usurped into fighting. You are going to have to fight to prove yourself. You're going to have to fight. And unfortunately, you're going to waste some of that energy on being rejected. I still feel rejection a lot of the time. And I've been really in the DIY sort of game for 13 years, 14. I'll even round up and say 15 years. I remember when I first started my first serious band that was playing shows locally. There was a promoter and a promotion company that they booked all the real shows that you wanted to be playing. Most other promoters were not worth a shit. These were the people that you wanted to be involved with. And for some reason, I was just confident enough that, like, I'll just email them and they'll just put us on a show. And it didn't go that way. I got ignored a lot. And it didn't feel good. But I started realizing that instead of investing my energy into just impressing these people and fighting with these people, or fighting rather to be noticed, I just started going elsewhere and saying yes to literally anything that came our way. And it, a lot of the shows were crap. They sucked. They didn't feel good to play. Then the show started getting better because we started hitting the same pockets of places that we usually hit. And eventually, certain people, wasn't the same people I was referencing, gave us a chance, but those were people in that circle that attended the bigger shows, and those people liked us. So what I'm saying is that if you there is going to be a time where you have to fight. You have to prove yourself. There is a wrestling match that takes place to prove that you have a reason to be here. You are valid to be here. And not so much within yourself. You got to work that out before you even start all this, that tussle of validation. But with the outside world, unfortunately, there's going to be people that reject you. So if you can find a way to get out of that fight as soon as humanly possible and move towards the places where your presence is wanted, and tend to those relationships, that is the wisest investment that you could possibly make with your energy. There is a certain point where, if things are getting stagnant, you could always try again and put yourself in the fight. But typically the way that goes is when you let things sort of just expand organically and not advance organically. That's one thing that a lot of these people have twisted, is that there's a difference between advancement and expansion. And advancement means that you are stepping on the heads and the shoulders of the people that built you up so that you can kind of go ahead and look back. Expansion means that those people are still included. You should really strive, as especially someone in this neck of the woods, to expand and not advance. Not to, progress is aside from that. Progress is a forward motion, but you should want to progress with the people that have been alongside you the entire time. But if you can get to a point, it really is not that difficult to do. You might have to play a show to one or two people and make sure that show is the best possible thing that they've ever had in their life. Or you could have one client buying your vegan, gluten-free treats, and it's the greatest thing they've ever tasted. Make sure. So maybe that's a good way to round this all out. Is also putting your energy into making sure that whatever it is that you are trying to produce is the best that it could possibly be. And that doesn't always mean like being the best, like technically, like on the grid band ever. Maybe that means like your personality. There's something about your show that is just fun for people, and there's something that they can relate to, or something that they could be involved in, or something that they just enjoy watching. Maybe there's something about your vegan gluten-free treat that makes people's taste buds explode into complete and total utter euphoria. You know, making sure, I probably should have said this first, making sure that what you are putting out there is the most genuine thing that you could possibly put out there. Because I'm not going to say quality thing, because that's not, because you could have a quality thing, like you could have a really nice painting, a really detailed illustrated painting, hyper realistic painting that makes me feel nothing, and then I could look at someone who stuck a paintbrush in their ass and ran across a canvas, and it makes me feel like, wow, I don't know why I can relate to this, but I do. Make sure that put your energy and invest your energy also. Again, I'm not going to say also, actually, first and foremost, put your energy into making sure that your product, whatever that may be, I hate that word, but I'm going to use it anyway, your product most genuinely represents what you are trying to get across. Then, when you have to present it to the outside world, put that energy into making sure that the people that are alongside you feel nurtured, as in nurturing those relationships, you know, not forgetting about those people, and also showing up and giving it your best despite who shows up. That really is the best use of your energy. Because again, when the big dogs, that the advancement dogs, when they look down and they see that, you know, not only is there, you know, a good handful of loyal supporters that you have, there's just that loyalty, you know, there's I don't know the best way to put it. There is something there is a longevity that's there that I guess seems lucrative. And most of the time, the advancement dog will be foaming at the mouth, and I will recommend to you maybe keep them at bay. If you really want to go advance and do that, I'm not going to stop you. But it is the loyalty of the people that care about what you do that will financially sustain you, and honestly, in a lot of ways, energetically sustain you. But also make sure that you're tending to yourself. Also make sure that you are investing in making sure that you have the energy to sustain, like to just sustain what you're doing despite who's watching, because that's also very important. This is a very out of order list. I hope that you're still with me here. But I'm going to I guess leave off with a botched quote from an interview with Steve Albini, may he rest in peace. Basically talking about what he says is, if you can divorce having a career with playing music, now you can I guess insert whatever it is there. I just like this quote a lot. If you can divorce making a living and having a career from, I guess, whatever it is that you're doing, then you will be able to do whatever it is that you're doing for the rest of your life. Obviously, if you can make a career, this is not him anymore, this is me talking. Obviously, if you can make a career and a sustainable living off of your creativity and what you're doing, then have at it. You know, that comes along. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. It comes along with a different type of challenge. But if you can find a way to take that pressure off and just invest time, energy, and capital into yourself without any outside influence or any outside investors or whatever it is, then you will be able to carry this thing along just as long as you want to carry it along. I think that's really that felt like a good way to end this video. This might sound contradictory to my last video, but I guarantee you that they both coincide with each other, because the other side, it's basically like two sides of a spectrum. And I think that when you deviate towards the procrastination side of things, I guess what I'm trying to say is to not, because when you start shaming yourself and guilting yourself for not producing, you start demonizing your process, and therefore you don't get anything done. So it's better to view procrastination as something that is healthy for the process and get on back on the horse as fast as humanly possible. This is for the times that you are feeling productive, and if you are procrastinating and have, because you have no direction, I hope that maybe this maybe tiptoes you towards the the other side, which is having the brain to invest time. I hope that makes sense, and I will see you in the next episode.